All right, welcome to another episode of the Bamateur Hour. I want to wish everybody a merry belated Christmas. It's now between Christmas and New Year's. We got a lot of bowl game smack talk to lay down tonight. Those IU fans, man, they really think Alabama's not worthy and that they're just going to come in and lay a beat down on us. Well, I got news for them, and we're going to chop that up. All right, today is Sunday, December 28th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. Thank you for tuning in. We now have over 8,300 subscribers on the YouTube channel, growing. We're headed to 10,000 and beyond. Tonight, I'm joined by T-Pain and G-Money. Just a little T-Pain news. His oldest son is now engaged and going to be married sometime in the near future. So we're going to celebrate that. We're going to celebrate the Alabama season. And we're also going to tell you why Alabama is going to beat Indiana, why Indiana is not all of that, and why the SEC is as good, if not better than the Big Ten, and why this is going to be a real great 4 games and not going to be a Big Ten just showing how dominant they are. Guys, let's jump in here. All right, G-Money, give me some quick thoughts, and then we're going to dive into all sorts of good stuff.
There's so many just layers to this game in terms of the coaches, personnel, history of the programs. It's just going to be so exciting. I can barely contain myself. The venue, I just want to make one point that we can talk about later. This is not Cignetti's first time at the Rose Bowl. He was part of the Alabama staff when we went down and beat Texas.
He's got a natty ring, doesn't he?
He sure does. He sure does.
T-Pain.
Yes, man. I was in Florida today and I saw some IU fans and they seemed pretty confident. You're right. But yeah, I think we're going to show up and show out, baby.
Guys, let's think about this. Indiana was the doormat of the Power 4 teams 3 years ago. They were terrible. I mean, they have no history. And in 2 years, Curt Cignetti came in his first year, brought in like half his James Madison team, and they actually made the playoffs. They go 11-1. Now they got beat pretty handily by Ohio State, and then they got dismissed very quickly by Notre Dame, but they make the playoffs. But then they lose a bunch of guys. But Mark Cuban writes that check again. They go out and they reload on the transfer portal, and bingo, they hit again. And all of a sudden, here they are, 13-0, the Big Ten champions. And boy, they think they're just going to roll through everybody and go 16-0 and hoist the natty. That ain't happening. But they are a really good team. And I mean, you have to put Curt Cignetti up there as one of the best coaches in college football. He's got to be in the top 5 already. And what he's done is miraculous. And really to hit the transfer portal and not miss on players. Look at how badly Florida State missed on players. They had one undefeated season and didn't make the playoffs. But the next 2 years, they went heavy into the portal again. And they looked like they had hit this year when they beat Alabama at the beginning of the year. We're going to address that later. But then they didn't hit, and they were terrible last year at 2-10. So it's quite the art to go in and get players in the portal and then have your team actually hit and do well. Now, Texas Tech, heavy transfer portal. They're in the playoffs. Ole Miss, heavy transfer portal. They're in the playoffs. But then you got Ohio State, you got Alabama, you got Georgia. These are teams that did not go heavy transfer portal. Yeah, they had a few players, but they did it the old-fashioned way with 4-star and 5-star recruits. So we got quite the contrast going on in this game. All right, give me thoughts.
I'll just jump in and say this. So the Hoosier fans may be confident. I wouldn't call them overconfident. I mean, there is a market, right? And the market says, the last I looked on ESPN, 70% chance for the Hoosiers to win. The market's going to be wrong, as we're discussing, but I don't think it's hubris on their part. They're certainly new to this dance. This is a dance that Alabama's been to more than anyone. But, you know, there's a betting market and they're favored. I don't think we need to hide the lead on that, but you know, we'll talk about comparison of schedules and that kind of stuff. They have been tested. Yes, they have been tested. And you know, they played Oregon, they played Ohio State, but their stats from those 2 games look a lot more pedestrian than some of these things they racked up and others. So, but you got to figure the computers and the action and the betting markets are factoring those things in. They're still favored. So they're going to be disappointed.
Rick?
So I think this is a testament to coaching on Indiana's part, because I looked at a 247 website from the beginning of the season where it ranked the talent of every college team, just the talent composition. It had Georgia number 1 most talented team, Alabama number 2, Indiana number 72 in talent. So you look at that and think, so 247 Sports says the number 2 talented team is playing the number 72 talented team, and the number 72 talented team is favored by 6.5 points. That tells you strength of schedule, injuries, but more importantly, I think coaching. I think this is a great job of coaching on the Indiana staff to have a very well-disciplined team who they're good at what they do. But I do think if they had our schedule, they would not be 13-0.
I'm in agreement with that. Rick, to your point, I think Indiana's floor is higher than Alabama's floor. Yeah. I think their ceiling, I think they play close to their ceiling and pretty much had to max out, and they had a lot more A games where they played their A level throughout the game, and to have that 13-0 season, but they could easily been in overtime and lost to Ohio State. Miraculous play at Penn State, or they get a loss there. They had to have a late drive and hit on a big chunk play in the last few minutes of the Iowa game, or they lose at Iowa. I have to hand it to them. They went in and handled their business at Oregon. But other than those 4 games, who have they played? Who have they played? The rest of the teams on their schedule are terrible.
They played Old Dominion, John.
27-14.
Yeah.
And Indiana State, they're in
right.
rival, not quite like the Iron Bowl, I would argue. I think they beat them 73-0 or whatever. But I would say this Indiana team's like buying Merck or Bristol Myers Squibb stock, and we're higher beta. We've got higher variability, but I think we'll have less variability going into this game. I saw the post-game, Ryan Grubb was our offensive coordinator, said no more shenanigans. And I don't know if you guys saw that quote. He said this idea of this first quarter not starting on a great foot, he said we're kind of done with that. We're gonna start on a much better footing at the beginning of this game coming up. And I love that confidence, and I love his recognition of that and him kind of owning it and saying we're going to change this game.
See, I think John and Gary, I think the coaches also know, hey, from a talent perspective, if we play well, they can't stay with us 4 quarters. I think that's true. And I think if we play a B+ game at a neutral site like this, I think we win. Although you're right. I mean, I think they're going to play probably an A to A- game. That's kind of what they do. But obviously we have an effect on that. So I'm hoping we can pull them down to the B range for their game. But I think a B+ game for us wins, period.
And I certainly think an A- game, we beat them. We beat them with an A- game. A B+ game is one of those that comes down to the last possession of field goal. Anybody, somebody has to make that big play. And my problem is we could play a C+ game or we could play an A- game. I think the worst they do is play a B+ game. And that's me crediting Cignetti with that guy. He's got to be as close to Saban as anybody in college football. Maybe Kirby. He and Kirby have to be the two, get their teams playing discipline, playing focus, playing assignment football. Do your job. Don't get out of position. And I just have to give credit to Cignetti, but he's got to be a good talent evaluator because they're finding diamonds in the rough. How does that 5'9" Pons, shut down Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State and basically shut him out? How does that happen? I mean, was he interfering a lot? The Big Ten refs or whoever were calling that game weren't throwing flags. I don't know. I didn't watch it close enough, quite honestly, to see how he shut him out, but he did. He's a shutdown corner, but they don't have 5 shutdown corners. They don't have 3 shutdown corners. We've played defenses Oklahoma's as good a defense as anybody. Georgia's is at the end of the year is as good a defense as anybody. Auburn, LSU, we're ready to put points on any defense. We just hung, I'm not going to say we hung 34 in Oklahoma because we did get a pick six. We hung 27 on an outstanding Oklahoma defense. We can hang 27 on IU. I'm confident we can do that.
I'm not taking anything on the coaching thing, John. I'm not taking anything against Cignetti. Amazing job. Amazing. Nothing short of amazing, really. We don't have chopped liver. I mean, DeBoer, hey, we're going to start this. DeBoer, I saw something today. He is 13-2 in games where he has extra time to prepare. So that means postseason. That means the bye week or whatever. He's going to have our team ready for this game.
Yeah, I think, again, I know I'm biased and they are too, but, I just think that we're not going to be surprised at all on their level of ability. There's a chance they'll be surprised at how good we are. There's a chance. I don't think we're going to go, oh my gosh, these guys are so amazing, so big, so fast. I think we will. I think they will be disciplined, as we said. But I think kind of the variables, I think, are kind of favoring us. And what I mean is, we're a 6.5-point underdog. That's great for the locker room. That's awesome. That keeps you focused. Our coaches have a lot of time to prepare, like they do. But and we're also going to be the healthiest we've been in 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Amen.
So I just think it's kind of leaning toward us, and I'm really shocked that it's a 6.5-point underdog. I don't see that. But hey, let's go do it.
There's some Alabama hate built in there, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, and there's 2 other factors in there. There's the FSU factor and there's the Georgia SEC factor. And I think IU, and particularly the IU fans and the smack talkers, not the coaches. I don't think Cignetti's going to underestimate it. But I think they're looking at those 2 games and the odd makers, and they're saying this Alabama team's not all that good. They got beat 28-7 by Georgia. We're going to beat them that badly. They went and lost to a bad FSU team, but at the time, the FSU team was a good team. And I've got more to say about that. But what are your thoughts about we're being undervalued because of those 2 losses?
I'll say 2 things real quick. First of all, I think we all anticipated that the betting line might narrow a little bit. And we still have time before the game, right? 4 or 5 days. But I will say this, our games against Missouri and LSU are wins. They've gotten a little cheaper, right? And I know they're not at full strength, but I mean, Missouri lost to Virginia, LSU lost to Houston in postseason. I mean, the SEC sort of writ large as a brand. A&M lost to Miami. Our brand doesn't look that good, and maybe on the margins that's factoring in a little bit. Fair or not fair, that might be factoring in a little bit.
There are some players sitting out on both on the Missouri side and the LSU side. They had some players that sat and chose not to play. Some of them because they're in the transfer portal. Some of them getting ready for the NFL. But they definitely, and that's the problem with the bowl games is the non-playoff games.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's explainable. Even A&M, I mean, they had a pretty weak schedule in our conference at least.
They did. The weakest, actually. They had the weakest.
Yeah, so I don't really know how good they are, but we know Miami's solid. But yeah, I mean, I just think also, guys, Brooks has come on strong. Brooks is the number 1 target right now with Bernard. And I just think what the glimpse I saw in that last game against Oklahoma, the team looks like it's trending back to that stretch we had in the middle of the season. I think the team's going to come out on all cylinders. I'm expecting big things.
Well, and back to the schedule real quick. So if you're a boxing fan, there's no substitute for experience. So even if you're a 3-0 boxer and, your record is 3-0 and you've got all this talent, there's no experience for being in the ring. And I think that's your point, John. It sounds like you're saying that too, Rick. They don't have, yes, they played Ohio State, legitimate team, great team, and Oregon, but they don't have, think about all the tough defenses we have faced. And like you guys were saying, the chances are they'd have 2 losses probably if they play our schedule. Don't you think?
I think maybe 2 or 3 because, again, the depth. There's such a different route to where we got. Both teams are here. The route's so different. Our route was so hard, so rocky, so mountainous. They had a couple little hills and that's it. And so I just think we've been unhealthy and now we're healthy. They probably, I don't know much about them, honestly, but I suspect they're probably pretty healthy because they've had a pretty reasonable schedule. So yeah, I just think, at the end of the day, we're tested and we've been there and we're healthy, Gary. That's huge, man. I mean, LT Overton's back and Jan Miller will be the healthiest he's been. Clavis will be healthy. Ryan Miller, if he goes off a little bit, it's going to be scary.
And I heard Kevin Riley's been at practice.
Ryan Williams, yeah. Yeah, he's back. That's right.
So, Rick, to your point about health, they lost their best defensive lineman. He hurt himself in the post-Big Ten celebration, and he's out. So they've lost, and they don't have the depth on defense that we do. Right. We'll see how much of a factor it is. But they did. They lost their best defensive lineman, who is going to play on Sundays and hands down is their best guy. Now, they have other really good defensive linemen, and when you watch them play, they're physical, they're tough, they do their jobs, they don't back down. So we're going to see it, but they don't have the depth we do. Can we wear them out? I think we can. I think that we've got. So let's throw this out there. I think the FSU game, we all know that's an anomaly. That is not representative of this team at all. I thought Ty played well. I said it after the game, and I'll stick on it. Ty played well. We were poorly coached. We were poorly prepared. We gave up huge chunk plays all over the field. We got out of balance with the run pass. Even though our run game's never been great, in most of our wins, it's been close to a 50-50 run pass situation, and we've used the run effectively to force them to have to put guys in the box, or we would get 4 to 6 yards and force them to at least respect the run, even though we haven't been great on it. So I throw that game out. That is not this team. And I mean, it was a poor preparation job on DeBoer, on Kane Womack, on Grubb, on the special teams. It was just a debacle. And then the Georgia game, we were beat up. And our backs were not, let's face it, guys, this team has had its backs against the wall all year. And they've responded all year. But when their backs were not against the wall against Oklahoma, we blew that game. We gave them that game. Now, granted, they kind of returned the favor in Norman and gave us a few gifts, and we said thank you very much, blew them out, and got out of there with the win. Hats off to our team. But in that Georgia SEC, our back was not against the wall. We knew we were in, and we were beat up because of that grind of the schedule. So that game is not representative of our team either. I think you look at our what are we, 10-3?
Yeah.
Or 11-3. You look at our 11 wins, that is representative of our team. And I will say that Oklahoma game that we lost is representative of our team. We played a little bit worse than normal, but that was a very representative thing. Our defense played well. Our special teams were bad. We cannot turn the ball over. I think we all agree with that. We can't give them the turnover gifts, and we can't have the special team gaffes. So if we can clean that up, we can beat this team. We can go in there because we can go toe-to-toe with them. We can physical. We can athlete with them. Our coaches have to deliver, and our players have to execute. But I'm feeling good about it. We're going to beat them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that they've gotten lucky. Like, I don't want to give them bulletin board material, but some of their wins have been very idiosyncratic. I mean, you mentioned that final play in the Penn State game in Oregon. Oregon's quarterback had 2 picks that were sort of, not representative of his level of play. The rest of the season, Ohio State, they schemed a great first down there late in the game. So you got to give them credit for that. But my point is, they had those 3 games that any one of those, maybe 2 of those could have easily been losses, but they've only fought really 3, I would call it 10 or 12 round boxing matches. We've had 7. We've lost a couple of them, but I mean, we've had these battles where you're saying our backs against the wall, John. Our backs have been against the wall so much, and Ty has just shown many, many times, and most recently, obviously, in Norman, he just at times just elevates. He's just starting to look comfortable.
Yeah.
Ty is back, guys. October, Ty is back.
I think Ty's healthy also, guys. I think Ty's
Yes.
healthy. I just think I think if you go back to week 5 or 6 and go back to how we felt about the team then and said, hey, fast forward, we're going to play Indiana in the quarterfinals and the playoffs, we would be like, great, awesome. And now it's funny, we're also kind of like not so confident just because we've seen Alabama struggle some. But I think that was just the nature of the schedule, guys. I mean, when you play every game like it is, it just wears on you. And so now I think we're getting back to where we were. And I think we're just going to beat them, period. And then we're going to go, oh my gosh, it's going to be Alabama and Georgia in the finals.
Well, to be fair, I mean, some of it's the schedule, and some of it is we have had sort of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde team at times where we've had head scratching quarters, head scratching coaching, head scratching lack of effort, head scratching missed assignments. But then when we start clicking, we've said it a million times. Look at, I hate to bring back the first Georgia game, that first half of the Georgia game in Athens. There's not a team in the United States that could have beat us when we feel like that. So I think I always forget who the good one is. I guess is Dr. Jekyll the good one? I think we're going to be seeing Dr.
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll is the good one. Mr. Hyde is the fiend.
I think framed by the San Gabriel Mountains in Pasadena, I think Dr. Jekyll is going to come onto the field and we'll have a good time.
I don't think we're going to blow them out. I will say that because we play teams, good teams, close. We don't like Oklahoma. We could have beat them by 17, but then Kane goes in the prevent zone defense. Mateer shreds us, goes down the field, puts it in the end zone. All of a sudden, instead of the opportunity to beat them by 17, we do win by 10, then go back down and score. But, that's something. We're going to have to play aggressive football on both sides of the ball. We're going to have to execute. We cannot get into these zone passive because Mendoza will shred us if we're in that zone, rushing 3 guys or rushing 4 guys. He's got weapons. He's got receivers. He's got backs. He can run too. He will shred us. But if we put heat on him like we did in Mateer when we were bringing an extra guy, blitzing him, when we were covering with tight man, and then, you had a couple of safeties roaming around. If we'll play aggressive defense, I think we can light Mendoza up. And I'll show the stats of Mendoza in his 5 toughest games. Not good. Pedestrian.
Well, I saw a chart today, John, about the number of disguises that Womack has called, and they've all been late in the season. It's almost like maybe Kirby or Venables has inspired him, but he's shown a lot of one safety looks and having our corners drop back, and he's taking risks. And I think we're going to have to take some risk in Pasadena.
But not stupid risk. Don't blitz 7 guys and let a guy run free open down the field. But you're going to have to bring an extra guy a lot. You're going to have to rush 5 a lot.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to trust, Xavier Brown and Dijon Lee one-on-one a lot and stop the run, and stop the run and get some blitzes in there occasionally. And I think Xavier Brown and Dijon Lee can hang with them.
And I'll say one of the keys to the game, you mentioned Indiana's defensive line. They've got some really good players. They've got some outstanding linebackers.
They do.
Their linebackers are they've got 3 guys who are among the best. Hardy and Isaiah Jones. And, I think if we had to reduce certain keys to the game, I think which team's linebackers play better. Justin Jefferson's been playing like a dog, man, and
sure has.
Quay's back in there, and we just obviously Deontae, but I think at the end of the game, I think the stats and number of tackle sacks, pressures, those kind of things that our linebackers have are going to tell maybe the tale of the game.
And Gary and John, the other guys like Keon Kelly and Hill, we have a lot of depth that's been developed in the past 6 weeks, and now Rusaw's back, and Pierre's playing well. I just think we have a lot of guys to throw at Mendoza into that offense, and I think we're going to have success on both sides of the ball. And the defense has been consistent most of the year, and I just think they're going to get even better with all these guys who've been playing a lot of ball lately. Red Morgan is hitting hard right now. I mean, no one wants to catch a ball around Red Morgan or Brett Hubbard. I mean, man, I don't know.
I think Yanze's due a breakout game too. I mean, he's been solid, but kind of middle of the season, he just looks spectacular. I think he's due a big game.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary, to your point, Aiden Fisher is their stud All-American linebacker. He's the real deal. You mentioned Hardy. I mean, they do. They've got Kamara. They've got they've got a very solid front seven, but they don't have a front 14. They don't have the depth we do. So if we can get that time of possession, which we were able to do in the middle of the season, when we went on that 8-game run, we were winning time of possession and wearing teams out, and we can run the ball effectively when they're tired. We got them on their heels. So I think our depth is going to help. We've got the dudes, plenty of time to prepare. I'm feeling good about our ability to go in there and put it to them and get a win. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I think it could be a 3, 7, maybe 10 point, but they're not beating us by 14 or 17. That ain't happening. They might beat us by 3 or 7. I'm going to say that they're 13-0 for a reason. They're a really good team. But that Ohio State game, what they did is exactly what Michigan did to Ohio State a year ago. When Ohio State, everybody was all uppity on Ohio State, and then Michigan goes in there and beats them in an ugly game, 13-10. And Ohio State played conservative. To me, Ohio State is a better team than Indiana. If they play again, I don't think they will. Indiana's probably not going to get the chance to play Ohio State again because we're going to send them home. But
that's right.
If they played again, Ohio State's going to beat them because they're not going to be as conservative. Julian Sayin will throw those 50-50 balls to those receivers and go for the pass interference. But Ohio State did exactly what they did to Michigan a year ago and just played it too close to the best, too conservative. And Indiana played really smart and let Ohio State beat themselves. That's my take on that game.
Yeah, I think Georgia's better than Ohio State too, I think.
Yeah.
I've faced them a couple of times.
I think that's going to be a great matchup. I can't wait to watch Ohio State. And don't discount Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, if he's hot and can finish the game, he could upset Georgia. I'm not calling that. I think Georgia's going to beat him, but he could beat them. And then he will give Ohio State fits. Either one of those, Gunner or Trinidad Chambliss, because let's face it, guys, Arch was not prepared to go against a Matt Patricia defense. He was not prepared, and they were futile in the red zone. I mean, they got in the red zone multiple times and came away with no points. And Ohio State's got a great red zone defense. And, Indiana made just enough plays on both sides of the ball to eke out a win, but Ohio State's a better team. That's my take on that, is that they're the better team of the two. I agree with you guys that Georgia can beat them, and I see a good path to an all SEC final. I'm just saying, don't discount Trinidad Chambliss.
Well, I just think not having Lane Kiffin there is worth some points, and I don't know. I just like Georgia there.
And do we trust Pete Golding to lead a team to past Georgia and keep moving on? I don't, but, weird things happen. All right, let's jump into a couple of things. So strength of schedule, when you compare Alabama to Indiana on that strength of schedule, I think our strength of schedule is 6. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah. So our strength of schedule 6, and theirs is 28. I mean, they just didn't play the gauntlet of teams. And if they had to play our schedule, they would not be undefeated, and they're not going to be undefeated at the end of this season. They're going to lose. They're going to lose to us, and they're going to go home. They're not going 16-0 and going to win a natty. It's not going to happen. They're just not good enough, deep enough to survive 3 games, let alone the Alabama game, but they're not going to win 3 in a row and do it. So I'm not feeling that. And did you guys look at the list? I sent you the standings in the Big Ten. And other than Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon, who's another quality team that could finish in the top 8 in the SEC in that league?
Nobody.
None.
Yeah, it's just Iowa's offense is pathetic. Michigan, we know there's a lot of other weird things that were going on in the Michigan program, but they're just not all that. They had a freshman quarterback, and they just didn't have all the weapons. They were depleted over the past 2 seasons. And USC has a good offense and a good offensive quarterback, a good offensive coach, but they're not a well-rounded team, and nobody else in there is any good. I would argue that from Illinois down, they probably, all the rest of those teams would finish at least 10th to 12th in the SEC.
Yeah, let's agree with that.
So, there are 3 really good, high-quality teams in the Big Ten and nobody else.
Yep.
So, all right, all you SEC haters, I want to hear the smack, but we're disrespecting the Big Ten. The SEC is better from top to bottom, and we're also going to prove that we're better at the top as well after this thing's over with.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd love to see the betting line of the chance of an SEC national champ this year. I bet it's pretty high.
Meaning not good odds or good odds?
No, I'm saying I think there's a high probability between us or the winner of Georgia Ole Miss win it all.
Yeah,
I'm betting it's discounted. I'm saying it'd be a good bet because you probably get really good odds that you would get Alabama versus one of those two. I bet if you did some kind of, I'll bet Alabama, and not that I'm advocating betting, but if you did Alabama, Georgia, and bet the odds of those 2 teams playing, then you did Alabama, Ole Miss, you'd probably get high odds because I think people are discounting the SEC because we beat up on each other. I'm just speaking off the cuff, but I get that sense given that Indiana's a 6.5 point favorite than us. And I don't think they're 6.5 points better than us. I would give them a field goal. They've gone undefeated. I'll give them credit for that, but I think they should only be favored by 2 to 3 points. I just don't think they're that much better, but it's going to be fun to see. I may be eating crow on Thursday, or I might be having another celebration, baby, which I'm expecting to have. So if you look at just the numbers and the metrics, they're so skewed because Indiana hasn't played anybody. They played 4 tough teams, and that's it. That's all I can give them credit for because their yards per game, their offense is averaging almost 500 yards per game. We're averaging 380. They're passing for 250. We're passing for 270. They're rushing for 221. We're rushing for 109. But the way they beat, their average margin of victory is like 50 to 10. And it's because they beat up on all those bad Big Ten teams and beat up on those non-con teams. So I don't think you get a whole lot out of that.
Yeah, and there are detractors out there who are they're drinking the Indiana Kool-Aid. David Pollock comes to mind. He said there's no pathway that Alabama can win, but he's trying to get clicks and attention.
He's a Georgia guy too, so
he's a Georgia. And when he played against us, they won both times when he was a defensive lineman against us. But I mean, his predictions as a solo act remind me of sort of, David Lee Roth after he left Van Halen. Since Pollock left ESPN, his predictions have become a little flimsier. But not.
So, did you see this thing about Ty? I sent you all this Ty Simpson versus currently ranked opponents and Mendoza against currently ranked opponents. I mean, Simpson has 1,300 yards, 8 TDs, 3 INTs, and a 62.5% completion ratio. Mendoza against currently ranked opponents, 670 yards, 4 TDs, 3 interceptions, and a 62.3. So Mendoza ran up his Heisman numbers, and I'm fine with him getting the Heisman. I love the guy. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a really good. But he ran up his numbers against some bad teams and against the good teams. So this is interesting. Did you all see the grid about Ty Simpson's toughest games? I did a grid on average, and then Mendoza's 5 toughest games. If you look at his 5 toughest games versus Ty, He had a 63% completion percentage versus Ty at 62. Mendoza averaged 217 yards per game versus Ty averaging 270 per game. And then Ty averaged 1.7 touchdowns per game, Mendoza 1.2. And he averaged throwing one pick a game against those 5 toughest opponents. And Ty averaged a half an interception a game. So, I mean, Ty's really shown out against high-level competition. Mendoza's come down, not quite so good.
Well, that underscores their rushing attack is really good. Now, against great opponents, but, Mendoza, high-quality quarterback, no question. He's sort of the shiny object, though, that it's easy to pay attention to him, but their rushing attack probably is more critical in this game to their ability to score points than Mendoza, I would think. And we got to remember, too, Ty, against some of those tougher opponents, John, Ty was playing at peak Dr. Jekyll form, kind of in late September, early October, where it seems like a world away. But, I mean, he was on that list of what? He was number 1 on the Heisman list at one point. So, I mean, at his best, he's as good as any quarterback in the country.
Yeah, LSU really hurt him. He had a bad game against LSU. Who's finished by the time the Georgia SEC championship game. And Oklahoma throwing the pick 6. He had a good game. He just threw a pick 6 and he had a strip sack fumble. And had he not done those 2 games, he might have still been in the running. But it's like they discredited him that. And then he was hurt. He was hurt. In November, he was diminished. And he's healthy again, and he showed that. And, I mean, what he did in Auburn, he didn't have a great game against Auburn, but he was clutch. When we needed him to be big time, he was big time. And he's been that all year. Now, Mendoza's been as clutch as anybody. I have to admit that. He's made the clutch plays when they had to have it, even when he wasn't having a good game. He made it against Iowa. He made it against Penn State in spades, and he made the clutch throws to Charlie Becker from Nashville. He made the clutch throws when he needed to against Ohio State, but he didn't tear up Ohio State. He wasn't shredding them. He just made a great couple of plays when he needed to eke out a victory, because that's what they did, guys. They eked out a victory. That poor kicker for Ohio State should have been in overtime. I mean, who knows what happens in overtime? So, here's the one other thing about Mendoza. In his 8 easiest games, they won by an average of 50-8. He threw completion percentage 77%. Now, his passing yardage wasn't that great. It was 236. But to your point, their run pass balance is so good. They were running all over these teams as well. So, they're just calling their own score. Get ahead by 45 and then call the dogs off, or get ahead by 50 and call the dogs off. And then he threw 3.5 touchdowns per game in those 8 gimme games. And he threw 0.13 interceptions per game. So basically, he didn't throw any picks in those easy games. I might have thrown 1, and he was throwing over 3 touchdowns a game. So he ran his numbers up against, if we'd been playing Wisconsin every week, or if we had played Wisconsin 8 times, Ty's numbers, he would have thrown for 4,000 yards. He would have been the Heisman winner, and he wouldn't have been stressed as much and beat up as much. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, and Cignetti may have let him play later into some of those blowout games, with the idea of trying to help him win the Heisman. It worked out.
Yeah. I mean, if we had that schedule, Ty would have won the Heisman, no doubt.
And he'd be super healthy, and we'd be super healthy as a team.
No.
I mean, guys, the SEC, with all the NIL money and all the Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. There's tons of NFL talent there, and a lot of them stay at home in an SEC school. So even when teams like Vanderbilt, they should have been in this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and so it's just amazing. All right, let's jump into because I mean, there's so much more we could go into, but let's go into how Indiana, because I always like to look at the case for the other team. How does Indiana, what do they have to do to beat Alabama? And the first thing I said, they got to finish drives with touchdowns. They got to put touchdowns on the board. They got to, and we have a really good bend that don't break defense. They got to go up and put up 27, 30 points and finish drives with touchdowns. Thoughts there.
I think a couple of things. I think their defense needs to do what they've been doing all year. Pressuring the quarterback, sacks, tackles for loss, disguised coverages. They've got a very, very good defense, albeit against some no-name opponents, for sure. But I mean, they held Ohio State to 10 points. They held Oregon, I think, to 20.
Yeah, I mean, 30 to 20. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they played some really good games.
Yeah, and that was at Oregon on the road. So that, to me, that's their most impressive win, was that game.
Yeah, I agree with that. So that almost like begs the question to me, like, what do they have to hold us to in rushing for them to win? Because we're so pass happy, that's our identity. We have these, we've talked about this season, quasi runs with the little screens and those shallow crosses and those kind of routes. I don't think we need to run. I don't think we necessarily need 100 yards of rushing to win this game, but I don't think if we have 40, we're going to win it.
Yeah, I think Daniel Hill, again, we don't know how Jam is right now, if Jam's 100% or not, but the last two games, Daniel Hill's number one, running back number one. And I think the coaches know that now. And I just think when Daniel Hill runs, you saw him click off like a 35-yarder against Oklahoma. We don't have to live on the run, but we gotta keep doing it to keep them honest. And Daniel Hill could pop a couple runs. He's a big back, and he could pop a couple 20-yarders, which could be huge.
Well, and if they can get us out of balance on the run pass, our two worst games, Florida State and Georgia, we were way out of sync. We did not keep a 50-50 run pass. It doesn't mean the yardage goes that way, but we have to show them we can run for 3, 4, 5 yards, and that they have to respect the run, and that if they tee off on Ty, we're going to burn them. Or if they get into a very passive, 4 guys or 5 guys in the box and everybody else playing the pass, that we're going to run, and that they have to put 6, 7 guys in the box at a minimum, or we will run the ball. And I think our run game is good enough that if they put 4 and 5 guys, we're going to gash them 4 to 6 yards of play, and they're going to have to put 6 or 7 guys in the box.
Yeah. I think that, as we all know, the numbers are skewed because of their schedule on defense. And again, I know they played a couple of good games, but I just think, they're going to have a hard time on their defense controlling our offense and all the weapons we have with Cuevas and Brooks and Williams and Bernard and Horton and then Hill. I just think we're going to find some success on the field and offense. And then the question is, do we stop them a couple drives here and there? If we do, I think we win.
So next thing I put down about what they're going to have to do us, they're going to have to hit explosive plays. Teams that beat us hit those explosive plays. They gash us with the runs. They gash us with the pass. We either we're too passive in a zone, and Mateer did a great job of shredding our zone defense. When we got more aggressive and manned up or had a man zone concept, he didn't have those receivers running wide open. And when we started blitzing, but they're going to have to hit those chunk plays. And if they can do that, then we're in trouble. We've got to be ready for that. So I noted that. And then Mateer can't turn the ball over. Mateer's got to play a clean game. I think if we can force them into 2 turnovers, they're going to be in trouble.
Your brain's still in Oklahoma,
Mendoza.
Yeah. Not Mateer, but Mendoza. But Mendoza's got to play.
They've got a 3-headed monster at running back. That their average yards per run are really good. Hemby Black and Martin. Kalen Black's average is 5.6. Kobe Martin's average is 6.5. But I looked at, how did they do against Oregon, Ohio State? And they're like down to 3.7 and 4.0, which are not terrible averages. But I mean, that's a lot more pedestrian than these, 6.5 over the course of the season. That's a ridiculous.
Yes, no,
But then
that's
you were
great.
playing some ridiculous opponents. That's the whole point.
Right.
They ran numbers up. I mean, look at what we did. Missouri, remember how worried we were about Missouri's vaunted rushing attack? And it didn't kill us. I mean, we played and Georgia hit us for 200 and something yards in the first game. Remember that? And we still beat them. Remember that, guys? That was cool. Remember that?
Yeah, remember? That was awesome.
Remember when that happened?
Yeah. Remember when you were in the Beatles? Remember that?
So I think we can survive that as long as they're not hitting chunk plays and taking it to the house. I mean, if they get 2 or 3 long runs and take to the house, we're in deep mud. Time of possession, they want to win the time of possession because that's what Georgia did. In the Florida State game, we actually won time of possession, but they just, gave up too many chunk plays and they beat us there. But they're going to want to control the clock, time of possession, finish drives. And then we know this. I'm confident they're going to be sharp on special teams. We've just got to play even with them. But that's what they want to do is be sharp on special teams. Don't give us a gift like Oklahoma did and then get something out of their special teams where they get us to make a mistake. And then they're going to blitz Ty. I cannot imagine seeing what other teams have done. Ty's going to have to be able to handle the blitz. Ryan Grubb, DeBoer, they've got to put blitz beating packages in or they got to make them pay when they send an extra guy, because I think we'll be fine if they only rush 4. I think we can handle them on that, but we got to be prepared for those Brent Venables, Kirby Smart, Blake Baker blitzes, and we got to handle it. But that's what they want to do. They want to hurry Ty because Ty's effectiveness and completion percentage comes way down when he's blitzed and under pressure. Not just blitz, but when they actually get to him and pressure him. So those were key things I wrote down about what they need to do to beat us. But I mean, it's the recipe. We know that. It's probably now said it 8 or 9 times. It's the recipe, but we know how to handle it is my take. Thoughts?
I'll say this. I agree with you, but one thing that you didn't mention is the offensive line is kind of the key to that. And 2 things that we've been very vulnerable to is picking up stunts and that the blitzes up the middle. We've not done a good job at either one of those. There are too many guys that have clean looks, and the up the middle, Ty's really dangerous in the pocket. And when that pocket is pierced from the middle, that really gets him scrambling, and then sort of he's not as accurate about that. You hate to say offensive line is going to determine the game, but I think our offensive line has to at least play a lot better than they did in the first quarter of the Oklahoma game and a lot better than they did basically for the entirety of the Georgia game, the SEC championship game. But they're capable of doing that. I thought later in the Oklahoma game, they started showing that a little bit. So I hope so.
Yeah, once again, I think Brailsford was not healthy.
Right.
Yeah. And I think he's healthy again, which is great. I mean, and then I think we're starting to get a little bit of a chemistry there with the Formby at right guard. I know he's played tackle some even lately, but I like Carroll at right tackle, and I think we're going to have the best offensive line performance we've had the next 3 weeks if we had all season.
And Dewberry ought to be back 100% now. He played some, but you could tell at times he wasn't like himself. He didn't have that push that he usually has. So having him back at full strength would be a big plus too.
His best play was where he pulled Daniel Hill into the end zone. That was great.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. Just slung him in the end zone.
Yeah, Gary, he doesn't have his pushback, but he sure can pull you.
That's right.
So on the flip side about how Alabama's gonna beat Indiana, we got to finish drives. I mean, we got to put the ball in the end zone.
As Ryan Grubb said, John, no shenanigans, man. Just finish the drives, man. Score.
Well, the shenanigans he was referring to specifically the first quarter to quarter and a half, where we've been impotent essentially offensively. Even the Oklahoma game's What we have, three announced to begin the game?
Yeah, three straight 3 and outs, and we're down 17-0, and lucky was only 17-0.
So he's attributing that to play calling, Gary, or what?
He didn't really specifically attribute it to either himself or execution or effort on the player's part, but I loved it because he acknowledged it and said, there's something we're going to work on and we're going to get he was very confident. He said, we're going to get a much better start in the game against them.
Well, good. I mean, even in Atlanta, I mean, the first couple of plays, we ran the ball very effectively, and then the rest of the drive, I'm like, what are we doing? And so, I just think, as you said, we've said many times on this channel, is I feel like when something's working, Ryan says, well, let's quit doing that. It works. Let's do something different. So I think maybe he's going to be like, hey, if it works, we're just going to be boring and do it over and over again.
And there's multiple different ways that you can give a different look and run the same type plays.
Right.
People like Kyle Shanahan in the NFL are masters at using shifts, motion, formations to make a play look different, and yet they run an effective play out of different alignments. And so we need to do that. And the other thing is, quit trying to, when you see blitzes coming and all this stuff, you got to shorten your routes, or you got to have Ty just say 50-50 ball. You got to throw it fast and let one of our receivers go up there and see if we can get a PI, or we can get a Jeremy Bernard mossing of somebody and get, just a fantastic catch, or good luck keeping up with Brooks on a dead sprint. I mean, Pines can only take one receiver out. Who's he going to take out? Who's he going to isolate? And that leaves many other weapons out there to do something. So we've got that ability to do it, but ties seem to be getting killed because they bring blitzes and they'd have these, and you'd see him going back and get ready to get killed, and the receivers are still running with their backs and heads and not even turned looking for the ball. It's like you can't let plays take that long to develop if you hadn't established a running play.
Yeah, that's 100% what you're saying, John. That is play calling. And I'll say this: these sacks that that they're getting on time, these different defenses, they're not coverage sacks. They're not, he's back there for 4 or 5 seconds, nobody's open to get sacked.
Right.
These are guys running free on stunts, they're running free on blitzes. Yeah, the play calling, John, I think you made this point after the Georgia game, the SEC championship game. We're running these long to develop plays on the heels of our offensive line getting blown up time after time after time. That's on play calling.
Yeah, I think because we have problems with protection, every play should have, and I know they do oftentimes, but every play should have a couple short routes and then also the developing routes, or at least a fire guy like the running back, or somebody's got to be short for Ty every time.
No doubt. I mean, unless they're lined up with only 3 or 4 guys and it's clear they're in a, but I mean, still having those short routes, if you get the zone deep and you find holes in it, hitting a guy for 3 yards and letting him try to break a tackle and go 6 or 7, that's great. I love eating clock and getting 3 to 7 yards per pass play. I love that.
I may be putting way too much emphasis on this, but I really think Brooks, his kind of coming out party against Oklahoma, I know he's been good all year, but nationally, his coming out party, and then Ryan Grubb saying what he said after the game, he said that he saw, Curt Herbstreit in the bathroom, and Kurt's like, hey, you're right, coach. He's the dude. So that means he was talking about him before the game, obviously. And then now you have these coaches thinking about him. This is a perfect time for Ryan Williams to come back. Let's go, Ryan. Let's go, baby. Because, I mean, who are you going to, again, those coaches, I heard Martin Houston say this. These coaches for Indiana cannot get those images of Ryan Williams out of their head last year. So they still know he has this ability. Now they know on the recency bias, you have this kid Brooks who's killing it. So I just think we're going to have a lot. I think someone's going to be open all the time because they're going to be scared of Brooks, scared of what Williams could do. They know Bernard's so steady. I think Ty should have some options available every drive.
Yeah, and we were, not that we didn't know it already, but to your point, Rick, that first touchdown by Locklear, he's a freak athlete. I mean, that guy is like, he doesn't have the, David Palmer-esque Ryan Williams, but I mean, he just in terms of speed and that
power.
spin move, and I mean, man, wow.
He's hard to
that
get in the
corner
ground.
route catch was unbelievable because, he had to go outside shoulder to inside shoulder and twist his body, and he'd gotten behind the safety and secured the ball, touchdown.
He was doing things
that Amari Cooper.
Yeah. And he was doing body contortion that Ryan Williams used to do, And then that one pass that wasn't for a touchdown that Ty underthrew, he had to contort his body again and come back and get it. I mean, he's going to be trouble.
And I think that was on a 3rd and long too, right?
Yeah.
We really needed that, or maybe a 4th down. But,
Right.
We hit more chunk plays in the Oklahoma game than we have in a while. And it was nice to get all those chunk plays, including Daniel Hill's 30-yard run, long pass plays. We really hit that, and we've got to do that. So next point that I made here is, well, really 2 things, but I'm going to throw it out here is, 1, we need a 50-50 run pass. We cannot abandon the run. Every time we've abandoned the run and not used it, it's been bad, and we got to win time of possession. When we're going to beat them if we win time of possession and don't abandon the pass. So, a couple of points there on the offense. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, time of possession can be misleading, of course. Like sometimes you have turnovers and you still have the ball longer than they do. But I'm assuming no turnovers, like you mentioned at one point. If we have no turnovers and we win the time of possession, I think that's a victory.
Yeah, I'll say that, and to add to what Rick's point is, I liked how we varied where the snap was in terms of the game clock. In Oklahoma, we had a lot of sort of mid-count snaps instead of waiting to the end. So, time of possession, yes, John, I think we need to win that. I agree with you 100%. But I don't want to get that just by doing that last second snap on every down and kind of winning time of possession in that way. I think we need to vary it up like we did in the second half in Oklahoma.
And the other thing that's in our favor, I think, is our offense is getting its groove in the sense that I heard Oklahoma, or at least the announcers say, because we huddled so much against Oklahoma, the defense and with Ryan Grubb's motion, the defense had a hard time figuring out what was going to happen. So I think we might have found a little sweet thing there with a sugar huddle or a real huddle that is very beneficial.
So next point is we got to stay out of 3rd and 15 or longer. We just cannot get in those long downs, or we just got to be willing to punt it and get out of that. But we got to stay out of that. I mean, we just can't do that. And then a corollary to that is Ty can't turn the ball over. He needs to have a clean game. No fumbles, no INTs. We got to do, and that's he's got to handle the blitz. We got to be able to handle that blitz and do that. So. Any other comments to make on those points?
I agree with the no turnovers. The great thing about it is he's shown he can do that. I mean, he has shown, he had a multi-game stretch earlier in the season where he had no fumbles, no picks. I mean, he can do it. It's just a matter of doing it. It's a good opponent, but I've got a lot of confidence in him.
I do too.
Then we get to the special teams. Talty, when called upon, has got to make those field goals. I mean, we got to have it. I mean, we can't leave points that we should be able to score. We got to get every point we can. So he's got to make his field goals, and we just can't have the special teams errors. I'm going to be real interested when this season's over. Do they keep the same special teams coach, or do they go get a new one? Because it hadn't been great all year.
Discussion.
It hadn't been great all year. So, all right, let's talk defense. Let's talk on the defensive side of the ball. Thoughts on the defensive keys, and we've talked about some of them already, but let's just hit them real hard.
I think they're going to have to really run the ball. That's going to be their key. I think overall our defense is probably comparable to Ohio State, but I think we're better at the corners. I think we're better in pass defense in general. It seems like I don't want to say peaking, but the Georgia game, ugly score, ugly win, hurtful win. Georgia never put the ball down the field on us. And that's a very good team. I think our defense is really going to step up. And I do think, like I said earlier, I think our linebacker play to kind of limit their running game and to prevent these chunk plays that we're all, concerned about, I think is going to be key. And, we got some, as we all know, we got some really, really good linebackers.
Yeah, I think if we don't do what we did against Auburn and Georgia and give them the ball on our side of the field, I think we're going to hold them to a low point total. I just don't think our defense is so good that if we keep things on schedule and they're starting at the 25-yard line on their side, I think it's going to be hard for them to score. Our defense is legit, and now even our defense gives up points when you start on the 40-yard line. But we just don't need to give them short fields.
I'm really worried about Kane getting into those zone coverages and that 4-man rush and drop 7 in coverage or 3 and 8. And then Mendoza just having time to just pick us apart and guys running between, how they get between the linebacker and the safety and they drop it in over the top. He's got to not do that. Stay aggressive on defense. We need to blitz. We need to have a tight man coverage. If you want to put 2 safeties over the top and then have 5 guys with tight coverage and rush 4, but I think we're going to get burned if he thinks that we're going to go pure zone or heavy zone. I think it's not going to work out well. And then the other thing is our guys cannot let a guy get behind him like we did in Auburn. We're up 17-0, and all of a sudden the guy's behind the defense because our corners aren't playing disciplined. That's not your job when the quarterback's scrambling to leave your guy and come up and tackle him. That's the other guy's job. So, we got to have a Cignetti mentality and make sure everybody does their job and doesn't try to do somebody else's job.
Yeah. I really think Kane's getting better. I know he's been coaching for years now, but I think he's making adjustments quicker this season. You see, in the last game, he made adjustments pretty quick. I heard him interviewed. Y'all probably did too on the pre-Rose Bowl interview. And, someone asked him, what's it like having your dad on the sideline? Which I was unaware his dad's been on the sideline. And he said, well, it's great. My dad's the one that kind of created this defense. And he said, man, he gives me pointers all the time. And by the time we get on the team bus after a game, he'll already have, 8 pages of the next opponent scouting report. So I don't know how helpful that is in this game, but I think he's still learning. I really think he's getting better. And I think against IU, like you said, John, if we get burned on a certain type of defense, I think he'll change. He'll make adjustments, and he will get pressure on Mendoza. Mendoza will get hit several times.
Yeah, and I think, kind of to echo both of those points and to add something, I think he's got to take risks. You're talking about the zone defense. I think he's got to take risk. And early in the season, he got burned when he took risks. I remember we had an early episode where we're like, well, when you blitz, don't send 7 guys. And of course,
right.
We were kind of exaggerating there, but we got burned on so many of those. So he almost got like gun shy for a while where he wasn't making aggressive calls and disguises. And now towards the end of the season, he's gotten more aggressive because I think he's gotten more comfortable with his personnel, and they've learned his defense is kind of complicated. The guys are more comfortable with each other, more comfortable with the system. And so I expect, and I think we have to take some real risk on defense. And I certainly think that on offense as well to win this game. And I think we will take those risks.
Yeah, and to echo your point, Gary, I think as the season's going on, now we're how many games in? 14 games in?
Yeah.
I think the players have a firm understanding of the defense, especially the secondary. Xavier's playing so well, and so is Dijon Lee and Red Morgan and Sab and Bray Hubbard. I just think he can trust them. He really trusts them to do the right thing. And so now, as you know, he's putting everybody on the line and then dropping back. And I think we're going to see some more of that in this game, just trying to give Mendoza a lot of eye candy and have him thinking. So we'll see.
I hope we're very aggressively blitzing Mendoza up the middle and from his right side and forcing him left to have to try to throw the ball across his body because that gave Mateer problems. And y'all remember that play where Mateer had that guy behind the defense. He was scrambling left, and that made it harder on him. But also,
the guy dropped it.
But also Sab had him sacked.
Yeah, I know.
And
He missed the sack.
Sab ran past him instead of breaking. I mean, the fundamentals of tackling are you have to be under control when you get to the guy, and you can't dive, and you can't just run past him. And Mateer shook out of that because Sab was out of control. But the point was, we had Mateer rattled, and it paid off with that pick six because we started being very aggressive on defense, and we got to stay – Gary, to your point, smartly aggressive. We can't be stupidly aggressive and leave some guy running free down the field, but we've got to take aggressive plays and put pressure on Mendoza and make him feel the heat, but we got to force him left. I really don't think we can let him scramble right and throw where he's comfortable because he can run. He's got good rushing yardage. When you look at the quarterback rushing yardage, it's he can scramble. He's not a dual threat quarterback in the true sense like a Trinidad Chambliss, but he's mobile and he's got good legs.
So let me ask you, I have not watched him play all year. I know he's 6'5", 220 something. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And is he like, who does he compare to that we played as far as his running ability? He's not Mateer.
Not Gunner or Mateer. I don't think he's as good of a runner as Gunner Stockton or Mateer. What do you think?
You know who he's like? Ty. He's like Ty. He's got Ty's got good mobility. He's got mobility of Ty, maybe a little better, but he's got Ty mobility, but he's taller than Ty and probably a little bit better passer in terms of accuracy and stuff. But again, Ty's great. I love Ty, but I think he's very similar to Ty.
I can't imagine being 6'5". He's very elusive, right? Surely not.
He can run. He can run.
I know he can run, but is he quick like Bryce Young was, or?
He's not that quick, but for a 6 foot, I mean, Josh Allen's 6'6". Look at the wheels he has.
That's true.
He do not underestimate that if we're not setting the edge, he'll run for the first down or he'll scramble and then hit a guy downfield if our guys lose their discipline and are too worried about him. So he has that. He's not a statue in the pocket. He's not Ben Roethlisberger.
He's not Tom Brady.
No. He's much more mobile than Tom Brady. So,
not Mac Jones.
I was going to say Ty's going to get flushed out of pocket on a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. He's going to have 8 yards in front of him. Take it, man.
Absolutely.
A little bit better about that. Take it.
Absolutely.
Hey, I feel confident that this will be the best defense Mendoza's seen. I really do. Don't y'all?
No, I think Ohio State. I will say Ohio State's probably slightly better than us, but other than that, yes. And Ohio State gave him fits. I mean, he barely won that game. It wasn't Ohio State's defense that lost them that game. It was their inability to put points on the board when they got in the red zone. And Ohio State's offense, I mean, Sayin is a check down Charlie. He's put a lot of numbers up, but he is just checking down with all those weapons he has. You would think he would have had a lot more 40-yard touchdown passes than he did, given who he's throwing to. Throwing to 2 Sunday NFL wide receivers that are tall and fast and have good hands. So Mendoza's been tested by Ohio State, but he didn't put 25 points on him. He put 13 on him. And he just barely got out of there. And it wasn't Ohio State's defense that lost him. It was special teams, and their offense was ineffective. What does that sound like?
Respectfully, slightly disagree.
Okay.
That is, Ohio State's got better defensive stats than we do, but they suffer from that same schedule that Indiana does. I think our pass defense is better. And I think Ohio State's rush defense is probably better than ours, and I'd call them sort of close to even, I guess, overall.
Caleb Downs or Bray Hubbard?
I'd take Downs. I love Bray. I love Bray, but I'll take Downs. Downs is a special guy because he's like having a linebacker at safety who can play corner, linebacker. That guy blows plays up. In the semifinal last year against Texas, when they won it, he blew that play up, or Texas ties the ballgame.
He reminds me of Minkah Fitzpatrick a little bit.
I think he's more physical than Minkah, but yes. But I think he's a little more fit. I mean, he's a special player.
Yeah.
We'll let the NFL draft answer that question. So for this Thursday, Bray Hubbard.
We love Bray. We love Bray, but I would make that trade if we could get Caleb back. I would take Caleb.
Oh.
But I mean, I might sit Keon Sabb and put Caleb and Bray in there, but particularly after Keon missed that sure sack on Mateer. You can't miss that, Keon. When you got a chance to get them down, you got to take them down.
It's hard to break down when you're excited, John. But that be on that highlight reel.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I promise you, you've taught me enough. If I get there and I'm within arm length of Mendoza, I'm breaking down.
You got to be under control.
I'll get it. Get it.
You got to be under control. And of course, the last thing is we've done a really good job, I think, guys, the last 6 or 7 games of not committing stupid penalties, but we just got to don't make stupid penalties. But I think we can beat them. I'm feeling good about it, but I think it's going to be a battle. And, a B Alabama effort overall is not going to be good enough. I think it takes B+ or better, but we can do that. And we still haven't delivered a whole game where we've played A-. I don't think. We've had stretches where it's like A. You can look at the last 10 minutes of the second quarter and most of the second half against Oklahoma and say we were an A, other than that drive where we gave up that touchdown to Oklahoma in the second half. But the start was a C if we were grading that start. So, overall I thought it was an A- effort because we didn't turn the ball over. We didn't make special team errors and stuff like that. But I think, and they've seemingly played closer to their ceiling most every game than we have.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do our usual questions. Mendoza versus Ty. Who do you give the edge to?
Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Ty is our guy, and he's played in more tough games, and in those tough games. And again, he hasn't had a complimentary run game like Mendoza has. So the way he's performed with teams know that we don't have a great running game has been amazing. I agree with you, Ty.
That's a good point.
Bama O-line versus the Indiana D-line.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen Indiana play. I'm going to go kind of a push.
I'm going to give a very slight edge to Indiana's defensive line, even with Daly out. He's that's going to hurt him. There's no question.
It is going to hurt
him. So maybe I'll amend that. I'll go with Rick. I'll say a push. But if Daly was healthy, I would give them a slight edge.
I agree with you. If we can get the O-line playing consistently like they did in the last part of the Oklahoma game, I think we can get a push and do what we need to do to beat them. So
is this like the third or fourth best defensive line we played?
I think when they're healthy, they would be equivalent to Auburn.
Okay.
I mean, they've got.
Yeah, I think they're in that Oklahoma, Auburn, LSU range, but they're not better. They're not better than them.
Right.
This defense, Oklahoma, I still think is the best defense we've seen and will see.
Right.
I don't think we're going to get anything from Indiana other than they're going to be very disciplined. They're going to play hard. They're not going to do stupid things. They aren't going to commit dumb penalties, but we're not going to get anything we hadn't seen from a defense already.
Right.
The Indiana O-line versus the Bama D-line.
Maybe a push again.
That's kind of where I was going with that. LT's going to be back. He's going to be healthy. That helps us. But, again, they've only had really 3 real opponents. Their O-line has done their job very well against those legitimate 3 opponents. They played really well, I thought, against Ohio State. So I would give it a push as well. And that's kind of a nod to our guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But our defense, they're going to give them fits. They're gonna be under stress. So I think we can do it. So I agree with you. Push. All right, Indiana running game versus the Bama D.
I'll go Indiana running game a little bit.
I agree with Rick.
Yeah, I think that's the case as well, but I think they're more likely to be effective in that from the 20-yard line to our 30. I think once they get inside the red zone, they're going to find the running not so easy.
Sure.
Indiana passing game versus the Bama D.
Bama D.
Heisman. I'm going with the Bama D on this, and I think we're going to contain them.
Yeah.
I think if we go with an aggressive defense and we're going to do tight coverage, I like the Bama D. If we get back in that zone coverage and that prevent, we're going to get sliced. So, Kane, I have confidence in you, but you got to play aggressive defense. We got to have tight man. We got to have a tight man zone that if you got guys playing zone, don't sit in an area where there isn't anybody. You've got to find the traffic and shade towards that traffic. So, I like if Kane will do the right schemes, I think we can dominate it. I think we can shut them down. Do I even need to ask about the Bama running game?
No, skip number 7.
Right. Next question. Bama passing game versus the Indiana D.
Bama passing game, baby.
Bama.
Yep. I agree. I mean, we've shredded people all year. I'm confident we can do it.
I like the next question.
Okay, head coach matchup. Who is better?
DeBoer.
Okay.
DeBoer is the greatest coach in the world. DeBoer. Cignetti, you're about to find out.
I'll say the Cignetti. I think the Dolphins are looking for a head coach. So if you could kind of exit the college football landscape, stage left, and go coach a pro team, that'd be terrific, man.
That would be perfect. That's what Saban did. Curt, just follow Saban.
There you go. How about the OC? Who's got the better offensive coordinator?
I don't even know who theirs is, but Ryan Grubb.
Is Shanahan right? Is that their OC? Mike Shanahan? I think he just got
the Shanahan's son, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I call that a push too. I've got a lot of confidence in Ryan Grubb, but between the Rick patented ADHD kind of play calling and then just kind of having us disappear with some head scratching quarters, I'll call it a push.
Okay. And on the defensive side?
Give me Kane, baby. Give me some Kane.
Wet pants in the house, y'all. Kane Womack.
Yeah, baby. All right. So then the special teams, I have to give them that nod.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Although Talty's very hot right now. I think he's like 2 for 2.
We just need him to hit anything under 50. If he can just nail anything under 50, we're in great shape.
But please don't come down to that.
No.
With 4 seconds left and a 52-yarder. We want excitement, but please don't let it come down to
that. Oh, that would be so hard to watch. Oh.
Well, I'm assuming the Rose Bowl weather's not going to have crazy winds and swirling winds and stuff. I hadn't looked at the weather, so hopefully.
It looks like rain, actually. I looked at that. It's like high of 60, cloudy with a fair amount of rain in the forecast. That could factor in the passing game. I would factor into everything, really.
Yeah. No, that could make it very interesting. So we'll see. All right, guys, prediction time. Gary, you want to go first?
Sure. I've got Alabama winning against Indiana with final score of Alabama 24, Indiana 20.
I love it.
Man, I have not thought about that until right now. Listen, as of right now, the weather says on my app says high of 61, low of 55 on Thursday in Pasadena and 98% chance of rain. What does that mean? Who knows? But anyway.
Right.
So assuming it's a wet, soggy field, I'm going to get real into the weeds here, John. I think it's going to be a shortened game, more running than passing. I think we win 20. 24-17. What'd you say, Gary?
24-20.
Okay, 24-17, Bama.
All right, guys. I like the 24 number that you were throwing out. I'm going to pick 24-21. I think we get it done by a field goal, and but that's not going to be at the end of the game. But we're gonna get to 24. It's going to be a race to 24. We're going to beat them 24-21.
Love it.
All right, let's look at the other games quickly. Do you think we've, number one, addressed that the SEC is better than the Big Ten? And even though the Big Ten has three really, really stout teams, and I think Ohio State's the best of the three, but do we want to talk any more about why the SEC is better?
No, they know it. They know the answer.
All right,
yeah, so I know bowl games are different with people sitting out, but I wish we'd start winning some more bowl games. How about that?
Yeah.
That's fair that we're not looking good in the bowl games, but there's just so much turmoil with coaching changes and people sitting out and stuff. I don't know, but I think these playoffs are going to show it. All right, Ohio State, Miami. Who do you guys like in that game?
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I'm with you. I can't think that Mario Cristobal can win a big game. I don't trust him against the team of that caliber. I think Ohio State, they're going to get Carson Beck to turn the ball over. There's just going to be some stupid things. I think they'll win by 7. That's my thought. It's going to be Ohio State versus Georgia Ole Miss, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, next game, Oregon, Texas Tech.
Well, first, where is that game being played? Oregon, Texas Tech.
It's being played in Miami.
Okay. I haven't seen Texas Tech play all year. I'm just going to assume Oregon's better, so I'll take Oregon.
Okay.
I'll take the other side of that. I did watch the BYU Texas Tech game, and I've done a little more research on Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech to win that one.
Yeah, that's to me that's the biggest toss-up game I think among all of them. I'm going to take Oregon just because I don't think Texas Tech's quarterback is good enough to do what they need if they get in a hole. But Texas Tech defense, legit. Talk about a team built on the portal and that hit it right and loaded up and has a lot of talent. They do. If that quarterback can be a high-quality game manager, I agree with you, Gary, they can win. I just don't have confidence in him being able to do it against Oregon. So I'm going to take Oregon in a really close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tech gets it done.
Who would be a better matchup for us?
I think we beat either one of them.
Yeah, I do too, but I just wonder I don't know much.
I'd rather play Oregon, to be honest with you, than Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Gary. I think I'd rather play Oregon. I just think Oregon's going to be able to do enough offensively, and Tech's going to get bogged down. But we'll see. But yeah, I think if we beat Indiana, we're in the finals. We're going to beat the winner of Oregon Texas Tech. I feel very confident in that. And
so Vegas favors Texas Tech. Yep, you guys might know this already. I don't know, but I'm just looking this up. I don't know.
I didn't know who's favored. I hadn't looked.
I mean, it must be close because the matchup predictor is 51.6% Texas.
Oh
Tech.
wow! Okay.
Hey, Vegas also favors Indiana, right? What you saying?
Good point.
Well, and we know those lines are all about getting people to put money on both sides, not about who's going to win. So, all right, last one: Ole Miss, Georgia, guys.
Georgia.
I like Georgia in this game, but if Trinidad can play a great fourth quarter, they could upset Georgia. It could happen, but I have more confidence in Kirby Smart than I do in Pete Golding. So,
I mean, Georgia beat them at home at Oxford, right?
Beat them by 8. But Ole Miss had a lead in the fourth quarter. It wasn't at Oxford; it was in Athens.
Oh, okay.
But Ole Miss had a lead in the fourth quarter. And then Georgia flipped the game, and all of a sudden, Ole Miss couldn't score, and Georgia had them figured out. And then Georgia actually ran the clock out. They scored to take an 8-point lead, shut Ole Miss down, then they ran the clock out. So Georgia, turned it on in the fourth quarter, and it seemed like Georgia won by more than 8 points, but it was only 8 points.
Well, and they had Lane Kiffin. Then you don't get much brighter lights than the playoffs. I think the coaching disparity curve. He's been there. He's got the rings. I just really give them an edge.
So the one factor is Charlie Weiss Jr. was the OC all year at Ole Miss, and he's going with Lane to LSU. But he was allowed, even though Lane wasn't allowed, he was allowed to stay and coach the offense until the season's over, and then he's going to leave and go to and they're saying, now what's the truth, but that Lane really did let him run the offense and call the plays, and that Lane wasn't sitting there micromanaging it. I don't know the truth of that, whether that's true or not, but that's what the scuttlebutt is that the offense isn't going to be as hurt as you might think by Lane not being there, just because Charlie Weiss Jr., who's been at Lane's feet for a long time learning, but that Lane was letting him call the plays and run the offense to a high degree this year. So but you know what, guys? I don't trust Pete Golding to have the defense to beat Georgia.
No.
I just not confident that he can do the defensive job that he needs to do to allow his offense to put up enough points to win. But I'm fascinated by that game, guys. That's going to be high level. And I think either one of those teams can beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. All right. Prediction on the semis. Who's going to make it to the finals? Gary?
Georgia, Bama.
So, Rick, you're saying Georgia, Bama. Gary?
Come on.
I think it'll be Georgia, Bama, and it'll be the lowest rate TV rating.
Trilogy.
Let's make it a clean sweep. I'm going Georgia, Bama as well. I was kind of tempted to say Ohio State, Bama, but let's go Georgia, Bama. Let's do it. Let's do it, guys. And again, I want to celebrate this season. This team has achieved what we hoped they could achieve. When their backs were against the wall, they've proven to come out and be able to take care of business and do what they need to do. I love the fact that we made the playoffs. I love the season that Ty Simpson's had. He's had to fight through his injuries. He's playing great. And I mean, this team doesn't achieve what it achieved without him. I love it. So I'm excited. Your guys' thoughts on, I've just enjoyed it. And I mean, even after the Florida State loss, I was like, all right, we can still do this thing. We can correct. And we did, because I had a lot of doubts, but I still had that belief. So I'm thrilled. It's been a really fun season so far, but I don't want it to end on Thursday. I want to keep going.
No, I agree. It's been a great season. I don't want to harp on anybody, but I do want to ask a question. How different would this season have been if Milroe had come back? Sorry, Gary. I know I always do this, but
we'd have more rushing yards.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, I don't think we'd have Bernard here. I don't think we'd have Ryan Williams here. I'm serious. I mean, that's what I've heard. Anyway, whatever. That's been a great season.
Would DeBoer have taken him back if he had said, I want to come back?
No, I don't think so. But I was just still trying to play that card. I just wondered if he did come back, I think we would have had a long season.
I mean, could Grubb have taught him the things he needed to learn, or it's just not teachable?
He just can't do those things.
That does not lend itself to Ryan Grubb's offense.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry.
Lane Kiffin could use him.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree that Kiffin could have used him more effectively than Grubb could.
But hey, listen, this weekend I was in Dallas. I was at the beach and talking to some guys from Dallas and from Texas. And it's interesting because they're all, A&M fans or SMU fans or whatever. And
Texas, any University of Texas people, Longhorns?
Yeah. They're all from the Austin area, but they all went to different schools and Aggies. Some went to the Aggies anyway. But they were saying how it's funny how an outsider, like they said, Milroe was good, and I'm like, what? Anyway, I don't know. They just saw the fact that I think got the playoffs with Milroe, and they thought he's really good. I said, well, he can run really well. and he can throw a deep ball really well. But you saw where he was drafted, didn't you?
Well, he got drafted. A disaster of a quarterback doesn't get drafted. I'm just, yeah.
Well, I think it's a project. I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Gary, I think if you ran a 4.3, you get drafted too.
Hey, little known secret, I do run a 4.3. I just
Oh,
don't ever let anybody see it. Very private about it.
you're very proud. Well, you know what? The tennis court doesn't really show that speed. It's just too short.
I do drop shots sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I just don't think Milroe could have gotten us there. I don't.
By the way, has he played any this year? I haven't watched.
No.
No. Darnold's had such a good season, and they're in position for the number 1 seed that he just hadn't.
Hey, Gary, we got through a whole episode without a North Carolina reference.
But he did mention Vanderbilt and Nashville. He talked about Charles Becker being from Nashville.
That's true.
So I was waiting for the.
Here it comes. You know who the new OC is after they dumped Freddie Kitchens in North Carolina? Bobby Petrino.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
And there's a meme going around with Petrino driving a motorcycle with Jordan Hudson with their arms around him and Belichick in a sidecar.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh my goodness.
What's Belichick gonna do now?
I mean, he's retooling. He's going for round 2. He's coming back for another season.
Okay. I thought he got fired. I'm sorry. So
no.
No, he hired Petrino.
He got rid of his special teams coach. He got rid of his OC, who was Kitchens, and he's bringing in Petrino to be the new OC. So their offense will be better. I mean, it was bad last year. It'll be better, but I don't know. If they don't have the players, it doesn't matter. Of course, because his son's the D coordinator, there was no way he was going to fire his D coordinator. So
true. Hopefully, John, all you alumni can give more money for the NIL portal, for the NIL.
I think I would give it to basketball before football, but anyway.
Yeah. I feel like Michael Jordan could buy a few players, couldn't he?
I think he could.
I think he could.
But he is notoriously tight-fisted. So,
except on the golf course with his betting.
That's right.
I think he's always trying to angle how to shyster somebody out of something. So that's what I know. He got shystered out of it, but I've heard he's pretty notorious about trying to figure out how to win his money back and always battling it. So.
Well, listen, I know you're about to wrap it up, but one last question I have.
Yeah.
If we lose, listen, we're going to win, but hypothetically, if we lost a close game, does Ty come back or does he go?
I think some of it, from my perspective, depends on how he looks in this game. It's a big game for him. Could be a big game for his draft stock.
Yeah.
I think if we lose this game, he comes back. I think every game we win in the playoff run gets him that much closer. I think if we get to the finals or we win the Natty, he's gone because he'll have to have played well if we keep advancing.
Right.
So I think he'll have proven what he needs to in it because the defenses are going to be good. They're going to be tough. He there's no cupcakes in here like the bottom of the Big Ten. This is all big boy football. Right. So this is his proving ground. So if he goes to the finals or we win it all, he's gone. I think if we lose here, he comes back. The question is if we get to the semis and lose. So, it just depends on how he shows out.
Yeah, it's interesting because I heard the guy on the Film Guy Network breaking down the last film from the Oklahoma game, and he was saying, he said, so Ty's got one more year. He'll be back next year. And I'm thinking, I don't think Ty's coming back. I mean, assuming we go on to play well. But anyway, I think Ty's going. We'll see.
You think he's going no matter the outcome of this game?
I think he's going to get a first round status, and so I think he'll probably go. And I think there's probably a little pressure on him, just like there was Milroe, only because how good Keelan Russell can be. Mm-hmm. It's different than last year in the sense that Milroe just wasn't very good. But I think this kid behind Ty is so good. And if Ty gets a first round draft, I mean, what's the point? That's me.
Well, Saban's rule top 15, right?
Top 15, yeah.
Yeah.
Where do they have him at now? Do y'all even know?
I've heard 29th going to the Rams, and that he'd
Yeah.
go sit behind Stafford for a year or two, and until
Which may not be a bad thing.
I mean, if you can go learn with Sean McVay, sit behind Stafford, and then take over for that's a great position to be in.
Yes.
But I've heard right now he's coming back. I think a lot depends on how well he plays in this game. If he's throwing picks and inaccurate and getting sacked and getting fooled, but if he shows he can handle all the stuff they're going to throw at him and has another good game, I agree with you, Rick. He could be gone, but I would say 60% he's back right now is my thought. Yeah. Gary, what's your thought?
I would be similar. I'll probably be more 50-50, I think.
I know his best friend is Booker from last year, and I just wonder, I mean, Tyler, he's in the NFL doing it, and they talk every day, supposedly. I just wouldn't be surprised if Tyler said, man, you got a first, they're talking every day, they're best friends. If he's like, you got a first round draft stat, come on, man, come on up here. It's awesome. I don't know. But I know the money in the top 15 is huge, but there's something to say about going to play for a good team also.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, going to the Giants or the Jets or the Raiders or something like that, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
There's also something to be said about winning a national championship.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, boy.
Yeah, I'm talking about coming back if somehow it didn't work out this year.
Oh, I see.
I mean, that's a big motivating factor for some players, especially while you're making money. It's not the same as pre-NIL where, when you come back and risk injury and all that, but not make any money.
That's true. But if you do win the Natty this year, there's really no reason to come back, right?
He's gone. Because he will have had to have showed out if we win it against top level competition.
Right.
Because there's no way who's going to lead us? I mean, we don't have Derrick Henry back there. We don't have Jahmyr Gibbs.
Right.
We don't have it's going to be him.
We don't have Josh Jacobs. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it.
The guy from Texas, are we in he's transferring their big stud running back?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, but EJ Crowell is top notch, and he may well start next year, or it could be him and Daniel Hill splitting time. Let's hope AK Deer develops, and then Sindarian Morgan supposedly has been mossing people and showing out in practice already. So we got another wide receiver coming into the room that's 6'4", incredible. Got good speed, but also can go up and get the ball, take it away from people. So we got weapons coming in next year. And by the way, you know what Friday is? You guys know what this Friday is? Transfer portal opens.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So there's going to be some chaos there. And, we're going to lose some people. It's just a matter. And depending on what Ty does, we're going to lose one of those quarterbacks. I mean, I think if Ty comes back, Austin Mack's gone because he's got to go start somewhere.
So if we're going to win Thursday, so the question is, you don't want to enter the portal while you're still playing, right? So no one's going to be in the portal. Well,
okay, let's say you're Austin Mack. You can put your name in the portal and then see what happens. Because just because you go in the portal doesn't mean you can't come back. So I think you're going to see some players like Austin Mack put their name in the portal if we're still playing and Ty hadn't – and Ty's going to wait to announce what he's going to do too. That's part of the problem.
I mean, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I think what happens is Austin Mack has an agent who's filling things out already without going in the portal.
Absolutely.
So I think Austin Mack won't go in the portal till the season's over unless when does the window close?
The 16th.
Yeah.
Oh, the championship game's like the 19th.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So, I mean, he may be forced, if we're in the semis and win, he may be forced to have to go in the portal and make a decision and decide what to do, and we could be playing in the Natty.
So if you're a coach,
other players, if
you're DeBoer and several players put their name in the portal, do you let them play the rest of the season, or do you set them out?
Like for the national championship?
Well, I mean, like for instance, say Friday, say next we have round 2, we have semifinals in a week and a half or whatever, and say AK Deer puts his name in the portal and another couple guys who play a little bit. I mean, do you keep playing them the rest of the season, or do you say, guys, listen, you're not playing for us, I don't know. It's tough.
That's why the timing of the portal is ridiculous. I mean, it shouldn't open until the 15th of January. It should be open until the end of the month. And the schools just have to figure out, if somebody transfers, how to have them come in late January and still be academically able to do what they need to do.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. So, it's going to be a lot to talk about, guys. And then we play Kentucky in basketball on Saturday. So time to crank up that. Who do we have? Yale Monday night?
Tomorrow night, Yale, 7 o'clock.
We got Yale, so we need to win that game, and the big men need to play. So that'll be fun. So we got something else to talk about if you guys want to talk about that after the game. So that'll be exciting. So anyway, big week for the Tide.
Roll Tide.
Thursday. All right. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, follow, like, hit the notify button wherever you access the podcast, where it's on the YouTube channel, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, and the like. Again, thank you for listening. God bless, and roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Good night.
Good night.